Number 5. Kubiki Pride is an American woman from Atlanta, Georgia, whose daughter unexpectedly went missing. Kubiki searched for her daughter for over 270 days before finally receiving a tip about where she may have been. After months of research finding virtually no clues as to where her daughter may have gone, Kubiki eventually resorted to searching for her daughter online. This search ultimately led her to the website Backpage.com, which in 2012 was one of the largest sex trafficking and prostitution websites on the internet. Sadly, this is where she eventually found her daughter, and she'd been allegedly drugged and beaten into submission in order to become a part of a Bitcoin-fueled sex trafficking ring. However, simply retrieving her daughter from these attackers proved an extremely tedious task. In fact, Kubiki wasn't technically the one who saved her daughter in the end. That credit goes to an artificial intelligence application that was used to track down exactly who had possession of the girl, as well as provide information regarding where the individual may have been located. According to law enforcement, over 4.5 million people have been forced into sexual trafficking in recent years. It's believed that the vast majority of these individuals will end up on Backpage.com at some point. However, it's obviously not as simple as finding an ad that advertises an individual for sale as part of this ring. Most of these ads which solicit sexual trafficking victims are heavily disguised, and most of the ads remain undetected. However, this new form of artificial intelligence which was developed has proven to be notoriously useful in weeding out legitimate ads from sexual trafficking ads. The tool analyzes writing style, scanning thousands of different advertisements, user accounts, and other clusters of data to determine which of the ads are likely illegitimate. The tool then uses a ledger of Bitcoin transactions, called a blockchain, to then further narrow down user accounts as well as provide identities for users in certain situations. This information is then made available to police, who then perform search and rescue efforts when necessary. During the time that this tool has been in use, it's helped identify up to 90% of sexual trafficking ads that are listed on the site, with a false positive rate of just 1%. It's additionally helped track down approximately $150,000 in Bitcoin transactions linked to the individuals involved. This is the process which was used to find Miss Kubiki's daughter. Her kidnapper was ultimately captured and appropriate funds were seized, and he's since been sentenced to 5 years in prison. Arrests such as this are fairly rare though. However, with the use of this newly developed tool, prosecutors are hopeful that many Backpage accounts as well as Bitcoin accounts will be flagged and appropriate parties will be jailed for their actions. Number 4. The Silk Road was an online marketplace, similar in concept to websites like eBay or Amazon. However, Silk Road is predominantly used for selling illegal drugs and weaponry to criminals, only accepting payment through Bitcoin and similar cryptocurrency options. The Silk Road was launched back in 2011 and was only accessible using a deep web navigation program such as Tor. For over 2 years, the website was considered to be the world's largest hub for illegal transactions regarding narcotics and other illegal drugs. However, all of that came to an end in October of 2013, when the site was found and subsequently shut down by the FBI. The website was found to have been owned by a man named Ross Ulbricht, who went by the pseudonym Dread Pirate Roberts. Ross was quickly arrested, and all of his Bitcoin, totaling more than $214 million by today's rate, was seized by government agencies. Ross was then sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. However, this isn't the only time that a massive dark web marketplace has been seized by a government entity. In fact, just last year, Alphabet, a site which followed the exact same concept as the Silk Road, was shut down with the help of numerous worldwide governments, including the United States, Thailand, Bangkok, and others. The website's alleged owner, a Canadian-born citizen who went by the name Alpha02, was then arrested by Thailand police, where he was expected to be sentenced to life in prison. Additionally, over $23 million of Bitcoin were seized from his online wallet. Following this, the 25-year-old man was placed in a holding cell, awaiting trial. However, just days after his arrest, he was found dead from what appeared to be suicide. The darkest part of this man's story is that he was never actually convicted for his alleged crimes, and many individuals claim that he may have actually been an innocent man. Number 3. This story is actually a follow-up to the seizure of the Silk Road, which we mentioned a moment ago. Following the Silk Road's closure, US Secret Service agents were somehow given access to the Bitcoin wallet, which contained all of the funds that were seized during the raid. Now, Agent Sean Bridges is being charged with laundering over $800,000 worth of Bitcoin to a private account. In 2015, Sean Bridges was arrested and pled guilty to his crimes, where he was sentenced to just under 6 years in prison. Though after his guilty plea, prosecutors became aware of yet another transaction that Sean was involved in, totaling over $6 million in Bitcoin, for which he's being charged separately. For this, he's expected to face at least another 10 years in prison. Though sadly, this isn't the only time a government employee has been caught stealing Bitcoin in regards to the Silk Road case. In fact, around the same time as Sean Bridges, DEA agent Carl Force was found to have stolen approximately $700,000 worth of Bitcoin. In his official statement, he spoke directly to the American people, apologizing and saying, quote, "I'm sorry, I lost it." He was ultimately sentenced to 78 months in prison. Number 2. Money laundering is obviously nothing new. It's been an issue for decades, if not centuries, and likely will be for many years to come. However, following the development of Bitcoin, money laundering experts have found new ways to conceal their transactions, all taking place within the Bitcoin blockchain. The CEO of BlackRock, an investment agency, has publicly issued a statement regarding just how easy it is to launder money using Bitcoin. According to CEO Larry Fink, while Bitcoin can't be blamed for its involvement in illicit transactions, it's certainly proven to be a useful tool for criminals globally. Larry believes that the sudden and drastic rise in cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin is likely a statement to just how much laundering goes on, that the government is either unaware of or simply unable to track. In countless cases, Bitcoin has been linked to online gambling, tax evasion, money laundering, and other highly illegal transactions. This mostly due to the fact that Bitcoin is almost entirely unregulated, even though all of its transactions are documented publicly on the Bitcoin blockchain. Regardless, Fink, as well as countless other top-tier bankers, are certainly on board with the idea and concept of cryptocurrencies becoming more mainstream, even though larger companies such as JP Morgan are very public about their disdain for Bitcoin. Fink says, quote, "I'm a big believer in the potential of what cryptocurrencies can do." He says that he sees big opportunities for Bitcoin in the near future. With prices having just hit an all-time high for the second month in a row, he may be right in his assumptions. Number 1. In April of 2017, prosecutors uncovered one of the dark web's most elaborate child sex dungeons to date. The discovery came on April 20th when police in the Philippines arrived at the doorstep of David Deacon, a cyber sex ring leader from the deep web. After refusing to answer their knocks at his door, authorities burst into Deacon's home to find children's underwear, toddler shoes, cameras, handcuffs, rope, meth pipes, and stacks of hard drives scattered all throughout his home. It was later found out that Deacon had been hosting child pornography online, accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment in order to avoid being caught by police, though we see how well that worked out for him. Deacon was the leader of an online sex ring which is known for its involvement in the abuse of children, and oftentimes even babies, through online streaming services, which allow victims of human trafficking to be abused in real time over the internet, with different forms of torture being valued at different amounts of Bitcoin. An FBI spokesperson recalled these activities as growing at an alarming rate, adding that at any given moment there's an estimated 750,000 sexual predators readily available online. Strangely though, almost every case of online sexual torture stems from the Philippines. Authorities say that most of the victims are under the age of 12, though they've actually witnessed the abuse of a child as young as 2 months old. The tip that ultimately led prosecutors to David Deacon's home was an online tip, following a cryptocurrency transaction after Bitcoin had been traded for an exceptional amount of funds. When police finally arrived at Deacon's apartment, he was actually in the middle of a stream. As they burst through his door, he was attempting to wipe his phone clean of any condemning information, though before he could hit the button, officials tied him up with the first thing they found, an iPhone charging cable. Moments later, police got Deacon to reveal the location of 2 girls that he'd apparently been keeping hostage, age 11 and 9. They were rescued by police and sent home to their families. Prior to his involvement in the child sex operation, Deacon was found to have worked a $30 an hour job as a system manager, though he soon, quote, drifted into a world that repulsed him. Just before being taken to jail, Deacon asked authorities for a cigarette, a trip to the restroom, and his Bible. He's expected to spend the remainder of his life in prison. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos.